Success is a narcotic, and Ethan Vance was overdosing on the future. The Pierre suite, once a symbol of his miraculous resurrection, had transformed into a cold, gilded mausoleum. The sapphire glow of the 24-hour booth didn't just illuminate his path, it was beginning to bleach the very fabric of his soul. Every morning, the ritual remained the same. The limousine ride to the slums, the ozone-scented air of the booth, and the neon data stream that dictated his destiny. But the price of admission was no longer just a shared meal with a cat. The Oracle was hungry for more. The erosion started with the trivial. He forgot the middle name of his first business partner. Then the melody of the song his wife used to hum in the mornings vanished like smoke. By the time he realized the severity of the decay, the void had reached the core of his identity. He would stare at his reflection in the gold-rimmed mirrors of his penthouse, and for a terrifying heart, stopping second, he wouldn't recognize the man staring back. The eyes were his, but the history behind them was being systematically deleted, replaced by the cold, relentless ticker of stock prices and global catastrophes. Isabella was no longer a woman to him. She had become a ghost in his engineered paradise. He watched her across the dinner table, her movements graceful and her smile radiant, but he felt nothing but a hollow, echoing distance. He knew her every word before she spoke, a side effect of his daily pilgrimages to the booth. He had lived their conversations a dozen times in the neon blue silence of the alleyway. To Ethan, Isabella was a recording he was forced to play on a loop. The spontaneity of love had been traded for the sterile safety of a pre-recorded future. One evening, as they stood on the balcony overlooking the shimmering lights of Manhattan, Isabella turned to him, her eyes clouded with a genuine, unscripted concern. "Ethan," she whispered, her hand trembling as she touched his cheek. "You're looking right at me, but I feel like you're miles away. You speak about things I haven't even told you yet. It's like you're living in a tomorrow that hasn't arrived. Where are you, Ethan? Where is the man I met in the gallery?" Ethan opened his mouth to reply, to offer one of the rehearsed comforts he had practiced, but the words died in his throat. He realized with a jolt of pure ice in his veins that he couldn't remember the gallery. He couldn't remember the color of the dress she wore on the night they met. He couldn't even remember the sound of his own children's laughter. The booth had taken him. It had swallowed his past to fuel his future. Desperate to reclaim his crumbling mind, Ethan fled to the slums in the middle of the night, ignoring the protests of his security detail. He stumbled into the rusted booth, his breath coming in ragged gasps. The emerald-eyed cat was there, as always, its gaze unnervingly calm amidst Ethan's spiraling madness. He pressed his palms against the glass, screaming for a way back, for a future where he could keep his memories. But the glass didn't show the stock market. It didn't show the news. Instead, it showed a vision of the alleyway 24 hours from now. In the reflection, he saw himself, but he was no longer dressed in Italian silk. He was back in his rags, huddled on the damp sidewalk, staring at a piece of bread. He saw Isabella walking past him, her eyes cold and indifferent, not recognizing the beggar at her feet. The Oracle was showing him the expiration date of his luck. The data on the glass began to glitch, the neon blue turning into a sickly, pulsing violet. The numbers started to scream a high-pitched electronic whine that tore through his skull. He realized then that the booth wasn't a tool he was using. He was the fuel. His memories, his love, his very essence were being converted into the sapphire light that showed him the path to wealth. He was being hollowed out, a human shell traded for a god's eye view of a world he no longer belonged to. Ethan collapsed against the metal shelf, his fingers brushing the fur of the emerald-eyed cat. For the first time, the creature let out a sound, not a chirp, but a low, vibrating hum that matched the frequency of the booth. As his vision began to fade into a blur of neon data, he realized the ultimate horror: the cat wasn't leading him to his fortune. It was leading him to his replacement. The booth needed a soul to run, and Ethan Vance's time was almost up. Tomorrow was coming, but he wouldn't be there to see it.